Hey guys, good evening. Richard Schaefer again, Israeli Wine Direct. And this is our daughter, Hannah. She's supposed to be in bed, but what happened, Hannah? You couldn't sleep? You got hungry? So what are you eating?
Popsicle.
Popsicle. Evidently something I said yesterday in a tweet upset a few of you. I referred to the kosher wine section of wine retailers. The fact that you'll have country after country of a wine category, and then all of a sudden have a section called kosher, where kosher is not a country. Obviously, it's this made-up category that has nothing to do with anything that makes a wine interesting. I refer to kosher wine sections and retailers as the ghetto of the wine retail world, and it offended a couple people. So I thought that if I made a video elaborating on that, I could maybe offend just a couple more people, because it's something I'm actually been thinking about, this analogy, quite a bit lately. That's you, girl. And I just wanted to expound on it a little bit. Look, I'll say it again. The kosher section of wine shops has become, sadly, the Jewish ghetto of the wine retail world. Great wines go in, they never come out. And I really want to issue a challenge to all of the great wine retailers, because all of you, to some degree or another, are doing this. You're having beautiful country category after country category where people can learn in depth about what a particular place can create and can produce through wine grapes. And then all of a sudden you get this category called kosher, and it's literally like the Jewish ghetto. And what it signals to people, to your customers, is that these wines are only for people who only for observant Jews. Period. So no one else goes into those sections, and it's really sad, because number one, there are a lot of great it sounds like Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd. There are a lot of great wines from Israel that just happen to be kosher, and we import some of them from a great boutique winery that's very terroir driven, called Sorah Vineyards, based in the valley, actually, where all the Samson and Delilah stories took place. But there are a lot of great kosher wines that are getting buried and lost, and the only people going into these sections are observant Orthodox Jews. The other thing that's really important, and sometimes wine retailers will say this to me, they'll say, well, look, Jewish people need to be able to find kosher wines easily. And my response to that, as someone who keeps, aside from wine, sure, babe, someone who keeps a kosher kitchen and spends a lot of extra money on kosher meats and other kosher foods, it's very easy. And I'm not even that smart. I'm not even in Mensa, okay? I have friends who are in Mensa. It's not me. It's very easy, even for a dummy like me, to determine if a food is kosher or not. I don't need a lot of extra help. The symbols and logos are very plainly affixed on all food labels, whether it's cereal, milk, yogurt, wine, colas, beans, baked beans. It's very easy for people to understand whether a food product, and wine is a food product, is kosher or not. We don't need a lot of help. So that's not a good reason any longer for refusing to have Israel as a wine category, along with all of the other nations of the world that are represented in these great retail stores. I want to issue a challenge to all of the great retailers out there who are doing amazing things, who see themselves and their stores as platforms for getting people excited and passionate and energized about the world's most metaphysical food, wine. And yet, they haven't given this same platform for wines from Israel, whether they're kosher or not. And we're really, aside from one other importer who imports from one other great winery in Israel called Clos de Gat, my team is the first importer to import non-kosher wines from Israel of any number. And we have, about a half dozen of them. And they're all doing great things. And we've got to create a category so that they can have a seat at the table like all the other wines and like all the other wine nations. It no longer works as an excuse to say that Jewish people need extra special help to know whether a wine is kosher or not, because it's simply not true. We don't do that in retail stores, groceries, for any other food category. I guess I'd be okay with this if, they put Cheerios and Diet Coke and Bush's baked beans only in the kosher section. I guess if they did that, I probably wouldn't have a complaint to make. But until they do that, I'm going to argue and be in your face about creating an Israeli category for wines, whether they be kosher or not. I want to encourage people, the retailers out there, to free the Israeli wines from the kosher wine category. It's a category that gives no information, no education, no excitement and energy to your customers. And I think, candidly, you're leaving money on the table because you've carved out a category of wine and said, these wines are only for those people. And, as much as Jewish people like to think that we represent so much of the world, candidly, we're like less than 2% of the people. So if you've created an entire category of wine that's targeted to a tiny fraction of your consumer base, I really think you're leaving money on the table and not allowing people to have a broader understanding and a broader experience of the wine world. Wine that's in fact from the birthplace of wine, the Eastern Mediterranean, of which Israel is obviously a part. So anyway, sorry for the rant, but please, let's free the grapes, free the wines, at least the Israeli wines. Free them from the kosher wine ghetto and let other people experience great wines from Israel, whether they're kosher or not. Okay, Hannah and I are going to finish our dessert. I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.